back on the bike, my YouTube family. I'm not gonna lie, my legs are still a little bit sore from that ride, but it was really great time. So if I could go back, I'd do it again, and I know I probably will do it again multiple times. It's just I try not to do it in the dead middle of the summer, because riding with gear, which I don't have gear on right now because I'm just going right down the road, but riding with gear and you're in the sun, you know, in the middle of the road for hours at a time, even if you feel like you're okay, it takes its toll. Like, it really does. You don't realize how much your body has to fight to keep everything chill, you know what I mean? Like, all the things your body are doing to keep your organs at the right temperature, not overheating. So it takes energy out of you. And I've had one time back in, I think it was like a year and a half ago, that I rode up there when I was riding with the club, and we rode up, rode around, rode back the same day, and it was like 108 that day. And when I came back, on the way back, I started feeling really bad. Like, don't do it. My neck was cramping up on the way back, my legs were cramping up on the way back, which, generally speaking, when you ride, you know, back on a sport bike, when you're on it for hours at a time, you have cramps, you know, you have issues and stuff. But this day was just like, I was like, God damn, like, why is this so rough right now? Like, why am I such a pussy about it? Not thinking that it was starting to take its toll on me. And then as we got back into town, I started feeling really weird, just like kind of airy and like out of it, if you will. You know, like I knew something wasn't right, and I was like, okay, don't worry about it, you know. And I was drinking water all day. I must have had at least 9 or 10 of the little 16-ounce water bottles. On top of, I had a Camelback on me, which I was drinking all day. Like, I was hydrated, but what I didn't realize is it was just taking its toll on me as far as the heat stroke part goes. And so I got there, and like I got like one intersection away from my house, and I started to get really dizzy, which on a motorcycle, that's one thing you don't want, is to get dizzy or anything. And I was like, oh my God. And where I used to live, I would bring it in the driveway, go through a gate, and then park it by my door, because I lived in this like guest house of this lady. And right as I got in there and I got the bike parked and I shut the gate, I knew something was wrong. And so I was like, God damn, I was like, I gotta get inside, I gotta cool myself down. So I jumped in the shower, and I knew not to turn it on cold water because of my education with anatomy and everything like that, but I knew I needed to cool down, so I turned it on to where it was like lukewarm, just barely warm enough, you know, that was right at body temperature, maybe a little bit above. Because if you have heat stroke and you throw yourself into cold water, your body will literally go into shock, you know, and that could cause even more problems. And so lukewarm, and then as I, you know, was in there for a minute, I just turned it down, just gradually, within like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, you know, I was able to get into cold water. And I laid down, I sat down in the tub, and everything started cramping on me. My biceps are cramping, my triceps are cramping, all of my abs were cramping. I was having spasms in my back. And I was like, okay, just, you know, and my girlfriend was there at the time, and I had her give me Gatorade, had her give me water, and I was drinking as much as I possibly could. But the thing is your body can only adjust and filter and use so much water at a time. And I think the grand total was like every 16 or every 15 to 20 minutes is 16 ounces or something like that, which might have changed, but that was what I was taught back in the day. So essentially anything else your body just gets rid of, but I was just trying to chug and just keep the fluids flowing. And it got so bad that when I tried to get out of the shower, I literally had to like roll myself out of the shower onto the ground, and then I was able to push myself up using the toilet and the counter. And then I laid in my bed, and I just, oh my God, like, it just random things would happen. Like, I was really nauseous, I was having a headache, my body kept cramping in weird places, and it literally took me about a day and a half to 2 days to get better after this, where I wouldn't have cramps, you know, I wouldn't get like dizzy or anything like that. So in hindsight, I probably should have gone to the doctor, because they could have given me an IV and got fluids in me way quicker than just drinking it. But I was like, oh, stop being a pussy. And by the time I realized how bad it was too late. So that's my thing, is I won't go up there the dead of summer. I won't, because once you've had it once, you're predisposed to it happening again, and it could be worse. So that's my story about heat stroke. So if you're out there, it doesn't matter how much you're drinking. You know, you could die of heat stroke being fully hydrated. So if you're out here in Arizona or anywhere hot, you've got to remember to stay hydrated. You've got to remember to stay in the shade. You've got to remember that if you start feeling funny, you need to figure something out. You need to go in the shade. You need to cool off. And if it gets worse, you need to go to the doctor. Urgent care, emergency room, you know, whatever you have in your country, go check it out. Yes, ma'am. And I've gotten some questions recently from a couple people on, like, and I see it all the time in other motovloggers' comments, what is a good starter bike to learn on? And I am one of the people that believes that you need to start on a smaller bike for your first bike. Now here's the reasoning behind it, which I'm sure some people would disagree with me, but here's my reasoning behind it is you need to have a bike that you can focus on the basics with, right? How the clutch works, how the brakes work, you know, what to do in an emergency situation, how to lean properly, you know, how to counter steer, which to this day I can't explain to you how to counter steer properly. I just know that when I ride, I do it right. It's just something that, to me, counter steering is one of the things that you either know it or you don't. You know, it's very hard to teach someone how to counter steer. So, you know, push this way, go that way, whatever. But you need to learn how to ride the basics, right? And you need to learn how to ride amongst cars. And if you have a bike that has too much power for you, you're not learning how to ride. All you're doing that entire time is managing the power of the bike. And there are situations where you'll have to, instead of hitting the brakes, it's safer to throttle out of it. Now, if you have a bike that doesn't have throttle control, doesn't have wheelie control, doesn't have traction control, doesn't have all this shit on it, like mine. Mine, the only thing it has on is ABS, which I'm a firm believer in. And you go to throttle out and you hit that shit, you're either gonna high side because your backhand's gonna come out on you, or you're going to end up wheeling the fuck out of it and looping it. So you need, I believe you need to start a smaller bike, and you need to practice emergency braking in a parking lot. You need to ride a lot and actually, I don't want to say get into situations, but experience situations that, you know what I mean, are kind of bad in a sense. Because that right there will teach you how to ride a motorcycle. Now, if you start off on a 600 or 1000, unless it's a cruiser, you know, cruisers are a little bit different, because you could start off on a 650 cruiser, like what's a good thing, a Vulcan or something like that. And the way those are tuned, it doesn't have it has a big engine, but not a lot of power necessarily to it. You know, it has torque, but torque you can kind of manage a little bit with the way that they're tuned. So I think you need to start on a smaller bike. The other reason that I think people need to start on a smaller bike is, you start on a 600 or a 1000, you're gonna drop that thing, right? You're gonna drop it. You're gonna have problems. You're gonna destroy it. There's gonna be issues that you're gonna run into with this bike. And I am so happy. I never dropped my 250. I am so happy that I started out on it though, because, you know, I've seen so many things that people messing their bikes up, and they start off on a brand new 600, you know what I mean, because they have the money or however it may work out, and they drop it and they're pissed. You know, and once you've dropped a bike, you've dropped the bike. You can no longer ever say that that bike was never dropped, you know. But start on a smaller bike. Now, the other aspect of this, I know somebody that went from a Grom to a CBR 1000. I'm sorry, what in your right mind, like, how do you think that's going to work out? And what's funny about it is she dropped that bike, I think, like a week and a half into it, and couldn't pick her own bike up. If you can't pick your own bike up by yourself, unless you have like a Harley Ultra Limited or something like that, if you really can't pick up your own bike by yourself, that bike probably is too much for you. I'm sorry. Like, unless you're like some 5'4" female that's been riding for years and stuff like that. But if you're a new rider and you start off on a big ass bike, or go from a 250 to a 1000 or something like that, I don't think it's necessarily right. Now, I'll put my foot in my own mouth on this one, because I went from a 250 to this 800. And the same thing, you see what happens. I high-sided that bitch the first time I got it, or the first day I had it. So I am a really firm believer in the way Europe does it with their classes of licenses. Now I think it sucks how long you have to be on smaller bikes, for like 2 years or something crazy, but I understand why they do it, and it is a lot safer. So good bike to start on. The new Ninja 400s right now, right? This is 2019. New Ninja 400s are amazing bikes. I've heard nothing but good things. Actually, one bad thing, but I'm almost positive that was just a defective model. But heard a lot of good things about it. If you really want to stick with the 250, the best 250 I think would still be the Ninja 250. Or you can get an R3, which is very manageable, and that's fine. You know, R3 is good. As far as cruisers go, the Honda Rebel is a really good like mini cruiser, I say, because it's a 250. You're not going to get in trouble with that bike. If you are a bigger boy, right? Like I'm a bigger boy, so if you are a bigger boy, you can start off with like a Honda Shadow Aero 750. Now a 750 seems like a lot of CCs, but the way the cruisers are tuned, it's not a lot of power. You can literally take it and just drop it, you know, drop the clutch and do it, and you're more than likely going to be okay. Other than that, just do your research. Get online and figure it out yourself. Start researching what's a good bike and looking at stats and looking at reviews and stuff. So other than that, my peeps, I do believe that's going to be it. As always, check out my Instagram, F_520. Come say what's up, and that'll do it. I'll talk to y'all next time. Have a good one.